As we have seen on the oscilloscope, since we have now the correct signals, we can connect all those points C directly to the switch control pins of the CD4066 IC. This IC operates like a normal switch. When plus 12 volts is applied to the SW pin, the corresponding contact is on. When 0 volt is applied, the contact is off. That's exactly the function required to drive the CTM64 MIDI converter. In practice, the interface unit is composed of 3 printed circuit boards, 2 for the interface itself and 1 for the power supply. Those 3 PCBs are installed on a metal plate as near as possible to the keying modules in order to minimize the length of the flat cables. The metal plate is mounted with clamps for easy rotation around the metal rod. The power supply unit, PSU for short, is quite basic and uses only one 7812 regulator to feed the plus 12 volt DC for the CD4066 ICs. This small PCB is located at the right hand side and is fed by the plus 28 volt DC available from the X66 power supply unit. The 4 output flat cables located at the bottom of this picture are supplied in the CTM64 kit and terminated by 16-pole female connectors. The complete set of documentation, including PCB layouts, with much more technical details, is available on the X66 website. This last part is certainly the easiest one. Doepfer Music Electronic delivers the complete kit ready to operate, however, the metal enclosure is not included. The CTM64 PCB is installed on a metal plate with shield and fixed with 2 screws on the top of the scanner's block in order to get flat cables as short as possible. The flat cable from the interface unit terminated with connectors are inserted in the corresponding position. Installation and settings are clearly explained in the CTM64 user guide. One 5-pin DIN plug and cable is connected to the MIDI out socket of the CTM64 and assure a point-to-point link to the MIDI 5-pole socket with locker located under the console in order to connect the external MIDI devices. The 12 volt DC from the X66 power supply unit has been connected directly to the power socket of the CTM64. This way of doing will avoid ground loops. It is not recommended to take the 12 volt DC available from the interface unit as we have seen beforehand. The last action is to finalize cabling. Nothing really complicated. Let's have a look to the overall connecting diagram first. The orchestral tab and octave selector still need to be wired. Former orchestral tab cabling has to be modified as shown in red color in this picture. One on-off contact is required at MIDI on tab. To activate MIDI function, the command lead to JP6 point on CTM64 is simply either closed or opened. That's what MIDI on tap is doing. This picture shows how the new wiring behind MIDI tab should look like. On this view, the original cabling, on the next one, the modifications. The last action concerns the octave selector. While being optional, it seems interesting to my opinion and easy to implement. only 3 wires have to be installed between the selector switch and the STM64. Shielded wires are recommended. Connecting diagram is supplied with the STM64 user guide. Beside the square hole punching to accommodate this selector nearby the sforzando piston, the rest is rather easy to realize. Well, this technical part on MIDI installation is now completed. It's obvious, as you can imagine, that all information have been intentionally condensed. Anyhow, I trust having been of some help for those who intend to install this MIDI system on their X66. Thank you again for your attention.